Today, we are sorting out fan ideas into two piles: fun fantasies and things that can actually happen. Today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. My name is Booney. I'm a lifelong A's fan, and I've been covering this team every single day during the season, during the off season, you name it. Been watching the A's since 1981. And now, like I said, for the last year, 2 years, been covering them almost every single day. Locked On A's is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team, your A's, every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. We are live. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I apologize for not being able to post an episode yesterday. Holiday got to me a little bit as well, but we are back this morning live. Got all your comments with regard to the shows I had last week, the one with Sully, the one on the one on the Chasing Stars, and enjoyed reading them all. Love all the comments. Thank you so much for all of those. I wanted to comment on all the comments you had because I disagree with a few of them, believe it or not. And I thought I would just do a live show, talk about the comments, talk about what I feel, where this offseason is going, the A's product as a whole. I'm talking about the product off the field, the product that has gotten so much criticism. Why has it gotten criticism? We'll talk about that a little bit later. I understand that everybody wants to sign all the shiny, flashy free agents. So do I. The Zach Gallons, I've talked about it. The Gregory Sotos. Nolan, Arenado, well, maybe not as much him. But I want to sign the big-time free agents as well. And one thing you have to understand about the A's is we are who we are. And we've been like this for the last 25, 30 years. I'll cover exactly what I mean in a few minutes. First, free agent signings. Like I said, I love the ideas that you have with regard to who you want to sign, and so do I. I want to sign them as well. I want to address and talk about many of your comments right now. This one from Stack Up Breach and Clear. What's up, Stack Up? I wouldn't mind Arenado, especially at a little bargain. He's still a good name. In some Hall of Fame conversations, would be a draw for fans. Great defense, even if he's getting older, I believe is what you were saying. Here's the issue. I agree with you in some parts. Nolan Arenado is a Hall of Famer. And he is still elite defensively. Problem is, he's not a bargain, Stack Up. He's at $15 million a year right now. And in order for Arenado to waive his no trade clause, we would have to offer him an extension after 2028. I think it would take something like 5 years, $75 million at least. He would probably want to be extended through 2030, even to consider coming to Sacramento. Bat-wise, he's not even an average bat right now. And I could easily say, you could easily make an argument that Brett Harris is a better player than Nolan Arenado right now. What can Arenado really give you? I don't like the value there. That's where I disagree a little bit with you. He would be a draw for fans. but we're not in Vegas yet, right? We're in Sacramento. Hey, Seuss, happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. What's up, BBQ Slayer? Who's going to pay up? Or Tatsue? All right. Didn't quite understand. From Dat Boy, I think Cardinals could go for Colby Thomas, Max Muncy, and a couple other lower-level prospects. Adding Arenado and Marte would give us the best lineup in baseball. Also from Dat Boy, yes, I would do Leo DeVries for Kelly Marte straight up, sign Merrill Kelly, and bring Sean Newcomb back, maybe Gregory Soto as well. You're telling me that team doesn't make a run at the World Series. A lot right there, Dat Boy. I love it, though. A lot to undo. First and foremost, I just talked about Arenado. I wouldn't do the Arenado signing. And you would really go DeVries for Marte, huh? The thing is with Marte is, yeah, you're right. He is a legitimate MVP candidate. One of the best second basemen in baseball. You want to give up Colby and Max Muncy? The Diamondbacks won't do that. The Diamondbacks will not do it. Will they do a Leo DeVries for a Ketel Marte? Probably. Would I do it? I still want to see what DeVries is. Marte is a ton of money. It's gonna. I don't know if DeVries for Marte will do it straight up. It might take at least it would be that. On the other end, it would be like something like a Shea Langoliers and a Brett Rooker for a Ketel Marte. Then you got to extend Marte. And you're talking about a huge, huge contract. He is good. He is legit. When you're talking about a star, when you're talking about one of the best players in all of baseball, Ketel Marte is there. He's an MVP candidate. There's no question about it. As far as the quality of play you're talking about, you're exactly right. Now, am I willing, if I was in the A's position, would I be willing to give up Leo DeVries or Shea Langoliers or a Brett Rooker? A combination of any of those for Ketel Marte? I don't know. As far as being a World Series contender, you talked about Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly. I mean, what's Merrill Kelly? What's Merrill Kelly on a legitimate championship team? He's a back-end starter, right? He's far from an ace. A number 4 starter, a number 5 starter, a number 3 starter, maybe at best. I don't know. I don't think we're a World Series contender. No, not with that. Absolutely not. Merrill Kelly does not move the needle one bit for me. I do agree with you on Newcomb. I think we will bring back Newcomb. I think it'll be something like a 2-year, $8 million deal with the second year being a player option. Because Sean Newcomb wants to be a starting pitcher next year. And I believe the A's are going to give him every opportunity to be one. And I like that deal because, hey, listen, if Newcomb is the starting pitcher he thinks he is, he could opt out of the player option and then go chase down starting pitching money. If he's not, we send him back to the bullpen. He has the same role as last year, which he was really, really good at. Oh, who is going to pay up for Tatsuya? That's a good question, man. That is a heck of a question. I understand the Giants were in the running, but all of a sudden they were not. The kid had the comments about beating the Dodgers. I don't know. I think it's going to be a big market team. I think it's going to be a huge market team. Can't believe the Mariners had Marte. Thankfully, yeah, no kidding. Marte, no. He could play, but yeah, I think there's too much you would have to give up, Jesus, for Marte. Marte belongs almost to an almost World Series team such as the Blue. Yeah, I agree with you. And they would have to give up a lot in order to get him. Just go young. Agree with you, Jesus. Extend the young core. Extend the young core. Extend the young core. Royals won World Series with almost all young team. They did in 2015. Yeah, that team was legit. Speed, right? All speed. That was a fun Royals team. When I come back, the A's are who the A's are. What do I mean by that? I'll tell you in about 1 minute. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Back at you Tuesday morning, Locked On A's, reviewing all the developments in the offseason, which there has not been a whole lot of, but the ideas coming from you guys with regard to what the A's should do, it's all over the place. Let's talk about Newcomb. Sean Newcomb was so good, hopefully, that not too many teams noticed. Well, I think they noticed. Here's the difference and the reason why I think he'll sign with the A's. Like I mentioned before the break, I think the A's are going to give him an opportunity to be a starter, right? If Sean Newcomb is the starter he thinks he is, he opts out of the first year of his player option, getting, let's say, $4 million a year. All of a sudden, Chase is starting pitching money. Now he's looking at a contract of like $3 and $45. So I think that's why the A's have a good shot at getting him, is they're going to give him an opportunity to start, because he wants to be a starter. Big money difference between a starter and a reliever, obviously, even though, geez, Devin Williams sure signed for a lot. I was surprised at that. Barney the Dino. Barney, A's should go after and sign Gallen, Rengifo, Gino, which I assume you're talking about Eugenio Suarez. Sir Anthony Dominguez, trade with Cardinals for Jojo Romero and Brendan Donovan. Trade with Twins for Joe Ryan. Re-sign Sean Newcomb and try to get some extensions done if we want to be a serious team. Barney, love it. I would love all those guys. But we are who we are. And here's what I mean. When I first started growing up with the A's, early 80s, I was still a kid, just kind of understanding what baseball was. Ricky Henderson, Billy Martin, love the green and gold and love what they were about. As I got older, late 80s, A's started signing free agents that I knew of and seeing in the World Series, right? Such as a Bob Welch. They signed Mike Moore from Seattle, who was the former #1 draft pick. Carney Lansford, they got from the Angels, I believe it was. Dave Parker. All these guys I recognize, they signed to big contracts. Every new free agent on the market, the A's signed. And it was what I was used to. I didn't know anything different. I didn't understand salary cap, spending, payroll, any of that stuff. We had superstars and we won. We won during the regular season. The thing with those teams, though, is we won one World Series. We went to 3. It was disappointing not winning the whole thing. When you pay that much money and get that much in superstars, you expect to win the whole thing. The A's did not. When Walter Haas sold the team to Steve Schott and Ken Hoffman, All of a sudden, we saw the complete sell-off of everybody. Ricky gone, McGuire gone, Canseco. Tony La Russa was even gone. Jeez. Everybody was gone. I mean, they even signed free agents. One of my favorites was Harold Baines. Loved him. That big leg kick, left-handed hitter. He was awesome. And all of a sudden, we entered into a new era with regard to what the A's are. You learn to appreciate the underdog. You learn to appreciate and understand the Major League Baseball draft. I started watching college baseball because I got interested in who the A's may draft. You got to remember, I mean, even till now, the MLB draft compared to the other sports, no one even pays attention to. It's not even close as far as comparison. But that's how the A's built. And we didn't spend. And we haven't spent. Not in 30 years, guys. And last year, the spending wasn't spending. It wasn't a new sign of how things will go. The A's spent last year because they had to. They spent on Severino because they were forced to. They extended Rooker. They extended Butler. Not because, hey, we're entering in a new phase in the franchise. They didn't want to face a grievance from the Major League Baseball's Players Association. They wanted to participate in revenue sharing. If there was not a penalty for that, the A's would not have spent. Do I believe, and since Lou Wolf purchased the team with John Fisher, they were public and they made it clear it is profit first, dingers second. That will continue in Vegas. That will not change. But in my personal opinion, I think Vegas is a gold mine. I think they're going to make a ton of money and they will spend a percentage of that revenue on the players, on free agency. But not for 1 minute if Vegas happens to be a losing proposition, which I do not believe it will be. But if it is, it's going to be the same old thing. He's not going to go in his own pocket and invest. They've been public about that. And sure, we could talk about attendance and we could talk about, well, this happened and that happened until we're blue in the face. But until I see different from this franchise as far as what has happened in the last 3 decades, that has been the motive of operation. We are who we are. So Barney, while I love everything you're talking about, Gallen, and I've talked about signing Gallen, Rengifo, which I think we can get, Eugenio Suarez or Anthony Dominguez, trading Jojo Romero and Brendan Donovan. You got to also remember with regard to trades, what do the A's really have as far as assets? I can't sit here and say Jojo Romero and Brendan Donovan are better than what we already have, rather and give up prospects or assets in order to get them. I wouldn't do that trade-off. Sure, if they were already on our roster, would they be on the 26-man roster over who we currently have? Absolutely. But would I give up assets, the prospects we do have, the proven Major League Baseball players we do have, to get players like that? No, probably not. I want to extend the core. I want to extend the young guys. I want to extend Kurtz. I want to extend Wilson. I want to extend Soderstrom. Do I want Gallen as well? Yes. I want all of the above. I want Gregory Soto. I don't want to make any trades. I take that back. I want to make trades if we're not giving up a ton, like the Cabrian Hayes trade I proposed. I don't think that's going to happen, obviously. If we're not giving up prospects in order to get somebody that can be on the 26-man roster or serious assets that are contributing to the team every single day, I'll do it. But I don't want to give up prospects. I don't want to give up a Leo DeVries. I don't want to give up a Henry Bolte. I don't want to give up a Braden Nett. I want to see who they are. But right now, the A's are who they are. And that hasn't changed. We're not getting those guys. We're not getting Joe Ryan. And at the same time, I don't want Joe Ryan. You got to remember, guys, one of the most famous trades in A's history, I'm going to talk about why it was a good idea and why we must learn from history. Up next. NFL season is back, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout. It's frustrating. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Game Time is fast, easy, and backed by the Game Time guarantee. You will always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite NFL games as low as $100. The app made it super simple. I could even see the exact view from my seat before buying. I love zone deals as well. Pick the section, Game Time picks the seats, and you save big. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I have bought tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. In 2014, the A's had one of the better teams in baseball. At the All-Star break, they had the best record in all of the major leagues. Awesome lineup, led by guys like Jonah Cespedes, Coco Crisp, and a cast of others. Brandon Moss. Studs. We didn't have that one true ace. And we went out and we traded for Jon Lester. This trade is criticized a lot. At the time, I look back at it now, I hate the trade. At the time, I liked it. Jon Lester was a true ace, arguably the best pitcher in all of baseball, a guy that was going to take us to the promised land. The problem with the trade was that at the end of the 2014 season, Lester was going to become a free agent. The A's had no way, no chance to re-sign him. Could we have re-signed Cespedes? Probably not. At the same time, though, we had Cespedes under team control for one more year through the 2015 season. And he was the heart and soul of that team. Obviously, we got to the wild card game, lost a thriller in KC. He couldn't hold anybody on base, and the rest is history. Trading for a pitcher like Joe Ryan, trading for big guns like that comes at a cost. First of all, what are you giving up? You're giving up a ton for it. You're talking about Joe Ryan. You're talking about top prospects, Henry Bolte, Braden Nett. I would do that if we could re-sign a Joe Ryan. That's where the challenge is, guys. Dylan Cease just signed 7 years, $210 million. And I think Ryan's way better than Dylan Cease. What do you think his contract's going to demand? Upwards of close to $300 million? Do you want to invest that much in a starting pitcher while giving up prospects? And can you do it? So there's two parts to that. Two most famous trades. Jon Lester, Matt Holliday. We gave up a ton of prospects, weren't able to re-sign either of them. What's up, Matt? How about Tommy Edman or Nico Herner? Both Stanford guys. I like both of them, right? I don't believe they are free agents, though. We'd have to trade. Here's the other question, guys. If we're going to trade, who do you want to replace, right? So here's what's tricky with the A's. We got so many spots that were kind of like, I want to see. You know what I mean? Max Muncy, I want to see. Brett Harris, I want to see. Denzel Clark, I want to see. Carlos Cortez, I want to see. Tommy Edman, yeah, legit major leaguer. You know what you're getting. What do you have to give up? Would I like? I think that's a great idea, Matt. I think it's a great idea. I don't think Tommy Edman's going to be cheap. What are you willing to sacrifice on one side of things in order to trade for a Tommy Edman and then, again, re-sign him? What's he going to cost? What's he going to cost? We don't have a bottomless pit of money, unfortunately. Excuse me, the A's. I hate when people say we, and I get in myself a bad habit of doing that. What will he cost? Are you willing to not extend Wilson or Soderstrom, let's say, in order to sign someone like Tommy Edman or even Nico Horner or even a Brendan Donovan? All in the same kind of tier as far as ball player. Will they bring up Arnold? The first round pick? Now, I think, all depends on how he does. Yeah, I think with regard to pitchers, I want to be patient with the pitchers. Let them take their time. Arnold's unbelievably good. There's no question about it. And Gage Jump, same. Here's the deal, Jesus. All depends on how they do in the minors, right? I think Arnold will start in high A, maybe double A. My guess would be high A Lansing. Gage Jump in double A Midland. If they're dominating, if they're tearing it up over the first few starts, hey, go up to the next level. Test yourself for Arnold. Test yourself up in double A Midland. If you're tearing it up there at the break, go up to triple A. You tear it up there. Hey, there's no reason to keep you down. But it has to be the same type of situation as Nick Kurtz. Nick Kurtz was dominating. Why keep him down? Doesn't make any sense. And I feel the same way about Leo DeVries. If Leo DeVries is killing it, why keep him down? But you gotta go through that process. I truly believe you gotta go through the process. Not Edman, right? A couple other questions I want to respond to with regard to the A's as a product. And this is from my man, Baseball Fan Nevada, who I agree with about 90% of the time on this one. I have a different view on the team not having a city name. I would agree they would get more support in Sacramento if they used the name. There's a trade-off neither of you considered. He's referring to Sully and I on our Thanksgiving morning show. Some people understood that their stay in Sacramento was temporary, and Sacramento's goal was to encourage MLB to grant them an expansion team. The team's primary goal is to build a fan base in Las Vegas. For the first year in Sacramento, many in the media, including YouTube, expressed very strong doubts that the team would ever end up in Vegas. The comments range from not going to Las Vegas to likely stay in Sacramento, maybe Las Vegas, maybe Salt Lake City, maybe Portland. Had the team become known officially with the city name, those doubts would have been stronger, even though the stadium progress has calmed much of that today. The team is trying to come to Las Vegas with a splash. I believe adopting another city's name would have set the fan building a year. Much of what you say is accurate with regard to the comments ranging from if Vegas will ever happen, the negative attention the media has brought on the A's franchise, and the doubt that Vegas would get done. a lot of that is true. You're absolutely right. I don't feel that, and you're right about building a fan base. That I think that's the main thing. That's the most important situation. I feel that them not using the Sacramento name has been a turnoff to fans. They're the only sports team in the history of sports not to use the city's name. I think it's a bad look. I think it's when the franchise is looked at and portrayed so negatively, this is what they're talking about. I've had one take during all my rants and everything that's kind of got confused in it. I've had one take. No attention should be taken off what's going on the field. And the A's today, nothing but bad attention has been everything that's been coming off the field. That's been going on, off the field. This is another part of it. No one would blink twice with regard to Sacramento. And if the A's organization is basing their decisions, which I don't think they are, on what the media is saying, what social media is saying, what YouTube's saying, we've got a bigger problem. When the A's were in Oakland and they had the whole East Bay to market to, they didn't take advantage of that. Giants ran that territory. They invaded that territory, and the A's could care less. There was one thing you can talk about as far as not investing in players and the awful attendance, and both are true. And you could make the argument like, hey, bad attendance leads to not investing the team, etc. What A's ownership, what A's management has not done is invested in the community. They've not advertised. They have not marketed. Not in Oakland, not in Sacramento. They have not made anything about this franchise exciting. Although it is the most exciting franchise when you're talking about what's going on the field, with the young players they have, with how they have grown from within, the draft picks, etc. It's a badly run franchise. Let's call it for what it is. And I cringe every time I look at the standings and I see Athletics with no city name. It is one of the most irresponsible, stupid things you can do. And I think it has brought more negative attention to a fan base and to a franchise that is the last thing they need. What you're saying is right as far as the doubt going on and with regard to the stadium, etc. I don't think any of that, though, went into that decision. You know, I don't know. And that's one thing that bothers me. Constantly there's decisions being made that takes away from the product on the field. And I have an issue with that. It should, and always, and sports in general, should always be about the people playing it. You know, all the politics, everything around it, everything that gets mixed into it is just wrong. Am I a part of the problem with regard to that? And what else? Sure, absolutely. But yeah, not taking the name Sacramento for me made zero sense. And always, even at the Coliseum watching games, I never felt good about going to the ball game. You never felt like you were getting a deal. And I want to get to Mike's comments here. Mike Punsak, 7291. I was an Oakland A's fanatic, but I still love those uniques and some of the players and their skipper. The thing this franchise needs to do, like you said, Booney, is build a fan base. But it's not easy when you are in a port. a convenient stopover till you decide to move on to some convoluted pipe dream the ATH have had. If the ATH want fans up there in Sacramento, they need to go first. They need to first of all accept that this city, the city as their home, even if only temporarily. You probably know that already. Some of the fans that you care about them offer lower ticket prices, parking costs, 50-cent beer on Wednesdays. That was a huge success in the Coliseum. If there's no $1 hot dogs, get them. I could go on. You get the main idea. The ATH need to give something if they want to get. You're 1,000% right, Mike. There's never been any of that. There's never been any type of promotion. I mean, I still went to games in Sacramento and I got a great deal on tickets. But then I go get 2 beers and I'm paying $38. You always feel crappy about that experience. Food's not good. Paying $12 for a hot dog. It's like, come on. The off-the-field experience, which matters to a lot of people, has been crap. Let's call it what it is. And they need to get better at that. Their public relations need to get better. They're just out of touch right now with reality. That needs to change. That needs to change. And I hope it does. I truly hope it does. Because you're absolutely right, Mike. The A's need to go first. Create some excitement. Create something that people are happy about, that people feel good about when they go out to the ballpark. I mean, even the attendance. I mean, give me a break, guys. You have 10,000 seats at Sutter Health. The attendance is always misconveyed. You have 10,000 seats at Sutter Health Park, and then you have 4,000 seats in that lawn area. That's the 14,000. That's when you hear, hey, they can't sell it out. Well, who wants to sit in the lawn? But you know what? They're charging $25 a freaking ticket for those seats. Not even seats. It's a picnic. Why don't you go midweek day games or pick 15 games during the year where you're charging $5 a ticket, $3 a ticket. Kids get in free. Something. Does it hurt? No. How about the kids get in free on Monday night games at home for those seats? How exciting would that be? They don't do that. They don't do that. And it kills them, and it kills their name. So in that sense, when I hear a complaint about ownership, in that sense, I agree with it. Unfortunately, a lot of people are complaining about the wrong things and not pointing blame to the right people in order to fix it. But that's my 2 cents and my rant for the day. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys had a great holiday. I will see you all tomorrow for another episode of Locked On A's. And for those of you who came on, thanks so much, man. Always appreciate you guys. Take care. Bye. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the Locked On MLB podcast, where there is no off season. Sully keeps you up to date on contract negotiations, rumors, and everything you need to be the most informed MLB fan. Find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.